In this video, we are going to be addressing the question that are homes still selling for far under asking price in the Toronto area? So if you want to learn more about pockets throughout the GTA and in Toronto, stay tuned. And don't forget, if you like this sort of content, if it's useful for you, don't forget, do me a big favor, like, subscribe, share, and leave a comment. It's been helping the channel grow. I'm very grateful to everyone that has been watching my videos, and I'll do my very best to continue delivering great content to you. And don't forget, if you also have any questions about real estate, or if you want to check out some of the properties that I've been featuring, or any properties in the areas that I feature and work in, you could call me, you could text me, you could email me. Let's set up a Zoom meeting, call. We'll meet for coffee, which is even better. We could go to a lot of the places that I've featured in my past videos, which are amazing, by the way. And let's go for coffee and snacks. Talk about your real estate needs. All right, are homes still selling for far under asking price in the vast majority of the Toronto area? And this information and this reporting is from blogto.com, and I'll leave a link in the comment section below so that you could read in full detail. But essentially, in the last 18 months, we've had a bit of a slump in the market. Actually, now probably closer to 12 months. We've had a slow period. A lot of properties just haven't been moving as much as they have been in previous years. And what's been happening in the last few months is there's a lot of properties are selling for well under the asking price, and that's for reasons that they're probably overpriced to begin with. Sellers are still hoping to get what they would have gotten 3 years ago, when we were listing properties for any price and getting more, which was insane, and that was very frustrating. That was very frustrating for buyers at the time, and also, believe it or not, it is very frustrating for real estate agents like myself when working with a buyer, because we would have a client that wants a specific house, and there'd be 15 other buyers, and we have to very much gear our buying strategy, and usually it is offer way more money, and that's no fun. That is no fun when you're a buyer. That hasn't been happening, not by a long shot. We've been seeing a lot of properties sitting, a lot of nice properties, especially in my area. And I've featured several properties throughout my YouTube channel over the last couple months. A lot of those properties are still sitting. And if you got questions about them, by all means, contact me. I left my number in earlier, and I'll leave it again at the end of the video. But call me, because some of them are still for sale. And and I understand. The notion of wanting to get as much. Hey, I want to, when I'm selling my property, my own personal properties, I want the most money possible, and I get that. I mean, the more the better. Hey, I get it, and I want when I'm the listing agent, I want I have a fiduciary duty to sell that property for as much money as possible. But sellers need to come to the reality is that offering an exorbitant amount of money for your property and listing it and hoping that people are going to, oh, they're just overpricing it and there's room to negotiate. That's not a viable strategy to sell property. And that's been happening a lot lately. And I think it's mainly because we're still, a lot of sellers, even agents, are still kind of stuck in the reality, in the mind, in the headspace that, that we're still in that 3 years ago where, again, we could put any price and get more. But let's address this Let's address this because it needs to be said. Okay, let's take a property. I'm thinking of a property in particular that I featured, and they're asking a lot of money for. This property is probably worth about 1.8. This is right in my area, right where I live, and my educated guess is it's worth about 1.8. It's a beautiful property. It's done to the nines. It's got parking. It's got a garage. It's got a decent sized lot, and it's nicely done. All new appliances, everything new, all done from top to bottom. And I would say if that thing sold for 1.8 mil, that's a fair price. That's what it's worth. Now, we could offer, if I was the listing agent for that property, I would say to the seller, okay, this is what it's worth. Let's list it for 1.798. Basically 2,000 less than what we think it's worth. And we should be able to get somewhere around that price, somewhere, maybe a tiny bit above, tiny bit below, but that's the fair price for that property. And that's a decent selling strategy. But again, a better strategy would be offering, list price would be 1.598, which would be 204,000 less than what it's worth. Now, some sellers go, well, why would you do that? Well, it's very simple. Now, I'm in the business for a long time. I'm 16 years selling real estate, and I've sold hundreds of properties. I've seen tens of thousands of properties sell. And to this date, it is still the best strategy to sell a property. When we list lower, we send a message to buyers that we are underpricing, so that it's clearly underpriced, so that they know to bid more. Now, a very small minority of buyers are going to think, oh, that's the asking price. But think about this. Think about it. If you're spending close to $2 million for a home, don't you think you would research the area and know what properties are selling for? And wouldn't you hire the best realtor that knows that area, so that you know the strategy that the listing agents and the sellers are using? And most of us use this strategy because it works, and it works very well. It works very well. And I would insist that we always use this strategy when I'm the listing agent, to get the most money for the home, for the buyer. Now, if a seller is really adamant about not using that strategy, some are, I would say, okay, well, let's price it at the value of the property with $1,000 less, or $2,000, because I like the number 8. The number 8 is lucky in some cultures, and I like to price it at that, because this culture is predominantly about 30% in the area that I live. So I like to add the number 8. So it's just a little trick to gain favor with buyers, and we price it at around the fair market value of the price. Now, both strategies could work. They're not perfect. They're not 100%. Things could happen. We can list a price for really low. We could price it $200,000 under the market value. But what could happen is maybe 5 other properties could list the same week. Do you think that's going to affect the price of that property? You're darn right it's gonna. It's going to affect the price of our listing, or the government could that same week make an announcement. Maybe mortgage rates have dropped or risen. Any number of things could happen. So these are the things that we come across. All this stuff has happened to me multiple times. We adjust, and this is where communication with our clients and with our with our sellers is crucial. And I'm all about communication, of course, and hopefully we can all come to a good understanding and get the best price possible for your home. And on the buyer's side, of course, that's entirely different set of duties. As a buyer agent, my job is to get the best price. So then we got to negotiate. And again, we find these overpriced properties, and this is where we approach the seller's agent or the seller's whatever and say, hey, your home is overpriced, and this is why. And we go from there, and we try to get the best price. We have a fiduciary duty to get the best price for our buyers. So I just want to share that because I think there's some misinformation out there in the public, and I just want to clarify that with people. Okay, but as I said in this reporting here with Blog TO, there are properties that are there are areas that are getting very few bidding wars, and that the pricing is negotiating below market value or below asking. And I'm seeing a statistic here of 93% of GTA neighborhoods are underbidding, and that was back in December 2024. And let's take a look at some of these neighborhoods. So according to this reporting by Blog TO, the number one area is East Lake in Oakville, which I don't cover, by the way, but I have people that cover that area. And I don't pretend to know Oakville, and I don't really want to do business in Oakville because of the distance and just my lack of knowledge. I prefer not to deal in that, but I can put you onto people that can help you. Number two area is Forest Hill, Toronto, Old Toronto. Now, Forest Hill is sort of an upscale area, kind of in the northern west part of Toronto. Again, I've never done any business in Forest Hill. I drive through there all the time. I see the houses. I occasionally look up the prices, and they're magnificent. But I don't do that area per se. If you really, really, really want me to work with you as a buyer agent, I can. I can handle it. I mean, as agents, we all have access to the same information, and I can handle the sale, but I have probably better people that are better suited for that area that can help you, and I can put you on to them. The next area is King. King is actually north of Toronto. It's more of a rural community. I sold a big mansion type 10-acre home years ago. Basically, a lot of farmland. They had a farm on there, a barn rather, and it was big. It was a nice big home. That was 15 years ago, but again, I can handle a sale out there. It's rural community. You got to deal with wells and stuff, and I got stories about that property. But again, that was 15 years ago. It's grown. King has grown, and I haven't been keeping up with the growth. But again, I can handle it if you really, really want me to. Otherwise, I've got agents that know it better. My friend Victor Pasquale, whom I've made several videos with, can help you with that area if you really, really want. Another area is North York, Glen Park, North York. I have no clue about this area. I have sold 2 or 3 properties in North York, but again, not my cup of tea. I can handle it. If you really, really want me to help you with that, I can. But again, I can refer you to people. And lastly, here is Brampton. Snellgrove, Brampton. I've sold one condo in Brampton in my life. I wouldn't touch Brampton with a 10-foot pole. It's just that it's so far. Traffic from my place to Brampton is well over an hour, and I just couldn't provide the level of service that is needed to deal with that area. But again, they're getting lower than asking, and if you do want somebody to help you, I could put you on to somebody there, and which is fascinating. So these are some areas that, according to this reporting, have been getting under asking, and which is good. Now, a lot of condos really are off on pricing right now, and that number drops to something like 80% of condos are getting well below asking price. And I mean, again, I really want to advocate condos right now because of the oversupply of condos right now, and the prices that are getting that buyers are being able to take advantage of are amazing. And I certainly sold a lot of condos in my time. I could certainly help you in the downtown core, East End, whatever, even the West End. I could definitely help you with that. So take advantage of that. Think about that. Okay, so we're also getting some areas now that are giving overbidding. And again, there's a part of Brampton that have that Fletcher's West. I know that area. I used to have a friend that lived out there, and that's a nice area, suburb. 15-year-old suburb, maybe more, and it's nice. And they're getting over asking. Wexford, Scarborough. So that's a nice suburb. Scarborough, around Lawrence and maybe Kennedy, Lawrence and Warden. What I like about that area is the properties are big. You've got about 35, 40 by 200 or 100 and 140, 120, 150 length of property. So you got ample parking. You got a good sized home. You got more bang for the buck, and you've got some acreage. You got some land. If you're raising a family, you got a nice big backyard for your kids to play in, and you've got parking. 3, 4, 5, 6 cars even, which is where I live. That's a real they're very scarce. Danforth, old, the Danforth is getting some overbidding, and I've sold lots in the Danforth. It's my area, it's my hood. I could certainly help you with properties in that area. Pickering Beach, Ajax, Pickering. Now, Pickering is just on the other side of Scarborough, east of Scarborough. Now, I don't know if you guys know. I'm from Oshawa, which is even further east rather. That's where I grew up. I sold my first home in Oshawa, and that was incidentally my parents' home, my family home. It's another story entirely. But Pickering, it's not far. It's a suburb of kind of Toronto. It's its own community. But it's not far. I could service that area, and they've been getting some overbidding. But you get more bang for the buck. The further east you go, the less you pay, and I like that part of the GTA because I'm from there, but it's on the GO train line. So if you do work downtown or need to get downtown, you can hop on a GO train, and in half an hour you can be downtown. So Pickering is a really good choice. You got almost 40% drop in price. You got more property to work with. Great place to raise families. Relatively good areas, but they are getting overbidding from according to this reporting. And last but not least, Markham. Markham, I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole because it's just demographics. But Markham is beautiful. If that's where you need to be, I've got people that can help you with Markham. So you let me know, and I can put you on to them, and they can help you. And you can find yourself a beauty. You could be close to Toronto, have a nice big home for 80% what you would pay in downtown or in my area in Toronto, even less, maybe 75, and you could do really well there. And Markham's growing. There's lots of good stuff coming in. I'm a little disappointed the Buttonville Airport closed down, but obviously they sold it for more development. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that big immense property. And also another thing we want to address too is mortgage rules have loosened up. So there's now 30-year. Well, there always was, but I think they're increasing the eligibility for a 30-year mortgage amortization, which I recommend. And the reason why is spreading out your mortgage payments so that your monthly payments are less is a good thing. And you got to remember too that you can always pay more if you have a good month, or if you have a bonus, or you put some overtime in. You can always put more money towards your mortgage payment, and when you do that, that's 100% principal that you're paying into your home. And I recommend whenever you can do that to try to do that, and try to do that at the beginning of the year, because the way amortization works, that will yield you the best bang for the buck. So, a good tip there. And, if you have more questions about that, again, I'll add my number at the back, or if you send me an email. And one last thing before we wrap this party up. I had a comment in my last video regarding affordability for properties. Yes, living in Toronto is expensive. No question. Most people cannot afford 1.6, 1.8 million for a home. I get that. I totally get that. And the thing is, you don't have to live in Toronto. As I mentioned before, going east a half an hour to, say, Scarborough or Pickering, Ajax. Actually, Ajax is already getting a little bit beyond a half an hour, but getting into Whitby and Oshawa and Bowmanville. These are all on the GO line, and Toronto's still very accessible. Or go west the other way to Burlington or Hamilton, or north to Barrie. All of these communities, Brantford, Newmarket, all of these are along the GO line. You can access Toronto. You could consider these places. They are cheaper, and you get more bang for the buck. You get a bigger home. You get bigger lots. You have parking. You have more options. Plus, you're out of the downtown core. I live in the city, and the one thing I really can't stand about living here in the city is the parking, the driving. There's so much construction and there's so much congestion. It takes to go by car. It's such an ordeal to get from A to B in the city of Toronto. Some of these communities, when I talk about Brampton to try to do business there, I just simply can't because of the traffic. I mean, I'd love to sell real estate in Brampton, but it's not like it was 20 years ago. 20 years ago, it took half an hour to get to Brampton. Now it takes over an hour. It's just because of traffic. So these are the things that you gotta consider when you live in Toronto. I mean, yes, you'll be closer to work if you live downtown, but you're gonna pay more. You're gonna pay way more, and you gotta understand, driving around is gonna be a problem. So when you go outside of these communities, the driving is way easier, and And if you need to get to Toronto, they're accessible. They're easy to get to with the GO train. And if you have to drive, you can. I don't recommend it though. All right, ladies and gentlemen, friends, folks. If you like this sort of content, if this is useful for you, if you're learning something, if this is useful, if this is helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and leave a comment. It helps. I love comments because I like to address them and answer them, and I hope that helps. And I want to help as many people as I can to get real estate, for an investment. And even if you're a home buyer for the first time, it's still an investment. It's a great investment to have to start thinking in terms of your retirement and your own personal wealth. It's a great start to getting that going, and I could certainly help you with all the strategies to get your first property. And if you have any advice, if you need any advice, I'd love to share that, because I've done it so many times for so many people, including myself, of course, as an investor and a homeowner. And if you have any questions about real estate, and you want to check out some property, you want to meet for coffee, let's meet for coffee. Here's my phone number, my email. Send me a text, call me, send me an email, send me a carrier pigeon, smoke signals, whatever your preferred method of communication is. Let's have a Zoom meeting if you're from out of town, or let's meet for coffee. Let's talk on the phone, and let me help you out with your real estate needs. All right, don't forget, every Thursday at 5 o'clock, I launch a new video. And I'm going to start, in a couple weeks, I'm going to start putting out 2 videos a week. Yes, 2 videos a week, starting not this Saturday, but next. But I'll let you know when those details are 100%. And that's it for now, folks. Have a great week.